Hello, Broke Gamer here, and this is part 2 of my Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead tutorial series. So in this part I'm going to discuss the various ways of moving around and interacting with the world, as well as the character menus that you're likely to encounter, such as the inventory system and the character information screen itself. So movement is in 8 directions, as you might imagine. The best way to do it is via the numpad on the keyboard, and make sure you have numlock on because it's actually the number input that the game is looking for. And so 8 and 2 is up and down, 4 and 6 is left and right, 7 and 3 is diagonal left and right, and 1 and 9 is that way. And 5 in the middle makes you just wait a turn and stay still. Now, if you are perhaps playing on a laptop, or you just don't have a numpad for whatever reason, you can also use J and K to move up and down, Y and N to move in those directions, H and L to move left and right, and U and B to move in those directions. This is not very intuitive in my mind, but they're there if you have the options. And like I said, it's looking for the number input, so you can actually use the number keys across the top of the keyboard. But again, that's not very intuitive, so it's best played with a numpad. Now the HUD down the left hand side of the right hand side of the screen, you have directions here that shows enemies that you can see. There's none on there currently because I'm in the evac shelter. Enemies that you can see in the viewport will just be listed underneath it, and you will see the letter that they're assigned and what they are underneath. And here you see your health indicator. You get a health indicator for each body part, and as they go down, you will suffer penalties. Head and torso health depleting completely means you're dead. Arms and legs, if the health depletes completely, then it will be broken. And here we have the message log that shows you a log of everything that's going on. Oh, we have an enemy spotted. It's interrupting my tutorial. So it must be close to a town, yes. So yeah, I'll just skip ahead to the safe mode bit, which I was going to do later, but you can toggle that on and off with the exclamation mark key. And what safe mode does, if you can see an enemy and it's on, it will stop you from doing anything and tell you that a monster's been spotted, until you turn it off by pressing the exclamation mark or by pressing the apostrophe key to ignore that single enemy. But if it moves out of your line of sight and then back in again, safe mode will come on again if you only ignore the enemy once. So I'll go ahead and turn that off for now. And yeah, I should mention right away that controls are case sensitive in this game. So if I say an uppercase F, you will need to type an uppercase F by pressing Shift and F. Okay. So how to examine things in the world. If you are playing with the text-based tile system, then you will have to examine things to know what they are until you really understand the game and understand what things are. So this brown hash symbol next to me, if we press E, just lowercase e, and in the top left it asks us for a direction, so we'll point to the left using a numpad, and it tells us in the message log that is a bench. And over here, we'll examine that. That's a counter. And these squiggly brackets over here are lockers, and that's a container. It will tell you if it's empty or if it has stuff in it. The lockers in the evac shelters are always empty. We can also smash things, which is probably going to attract the attention of that zombie. I think it's coming over here anyway. The NPC will sort that out. You can smash things by pressing S, and again it asks for a direction, and we'll smash this bench here, and now it is smashed into pieces. And we can examine the tile that it used to be on, and we can see that there's some splintered wood, a couple of 2x4s, and some nails. So we can see that the bench has been smashed into those pieces. And we can pick these items up by typing the letter that's assigned to them there, by pressing C. A little plus pops up next to the nails, which means I press enter and I have picked up some nails. You can also stand over the items and press G and do the same thing again. You can also use the arrow keys here and push right and left to select and deselect the item to pick up. But that's not always appropriate when perhaps there's some items over a trap or something. You don't want to be standing on it. So that's up to you which one to use. Right, the inventory screen you can open up by pressing I, and that will show you all the items that are in your inventory currently, and they are categorized. And if we use the arrow keys again to move up and down, and left and right to look at them in more detail, or to go back. And if we look at things in more detail, we see a list of options here. We can activate, read, eat, wear, wield, throw, take off, drop, unload, reload, disassemble, and reassign. First off, reassign means that you can reassign the letter that it's assigned in the inventory. So if you have a particular preference for a weapon perhaps that you're going to be using often, you can do that. And these are all accessible outside of the inventory screen as well. So for instance, you can wield this. You can wield just about anything in the game as a weapon. By going into the inventory, selecting the item and pressing W, or you can just press W from the game and pick whatever item you want. I'm now wielding a pocket knife, and that's shown here in weapon in the inventory screen. And that's the same with anything. You can eat by pressing the uppercase E and eating an apple. And yeah, all of these things here. Now drop is something you can do by pressing lowercase d, choosing the item, and dropping whatever it is. I didn't actually choose it there. There we go. And you can also drop on an adjacent tile by pressing an uppercase D, and it will ask for a direction. You can pick a direction, choose the item, and it will drop it next to you, which is very useful. Opening and closing things. To open a door or a window, just move into it. If it can't be opened, then nothing will happen. You see how it changes, the door changes from a plus into a little apostrophe. That lets you know it's open. If it's locked, then it will tell you in the message log that it's locked, and nothing will happen unless you smash it or pick the lock using a lockpick. And to close them, you press C, it'll ask for a direction, you point towards the window or the door, and it will close them. You can also close curtains by closing the windows again after they've already been closed. So that can help if you want your line of sight blocked when there's zombies surrounding a house. These here are stairs yellow greater than signs. Sometimes they're less than signs. Those are stairs up. These are stairs down. You can go up and down by pressing the same character. So down is the greater than symbol on the keyboard. Up is the less than symbol. You can also use page up and page down. And that zombie is joining the tutorial here. Right, there are two ways of looking around you. You can press X and use the movement keys to move beyond the range of the viewport that is centered on your character, which is very useful for if you're spotting an enemy in the distance that you can see up here, but you don't quite know where it is. And you can also use that to look on a tile to see a brief summary of what items are all there. But a better way to do that is an uppercase V, and that will give you a list of all the items on all the tiles within a certain radius of the player character, which is very useful if you are in a shop and you need to know what's in there very quickly without examining every tile. And we also have an advanced movement option. You press the / key and it brings this up on. You have two screens and you can pick a tile around you or the tile you're on by pressing the number keys. So the 5 is the tile you're on and these are the tiles around you. So if I press 4, I can see those nails that are next to me, and if I tab over to the next window there, I can press 6, which selects the tile to the right of me. I go back to this and press M, then that will then move those nails over to the next tile. So if you have piles of stuff that you want to sort, you can do that. You can sort it into piles on whatever tiles you want by doing this. And you can also sort things by volume and weight and name and category, and it's a very useful screen. Alright, before this NPC dies, although, yeah, let's see what they're wielding. See, if you examine an NPC, it'll tell you what they're wearing and what they're wielding. She is not wielding anything, good luck with that. Before she dies, you can press an uppercase C to chat with an NPC, and you have various options here. They're not great conversationalists. They do give you missions though, so you can ask them, B, can I do anything for you? And they tell you you have a job. They always have something. Tell me about it. And this one is they want you to find some patient records from a hospital or a doctor's office, and I'll say yes so that I can show you the mission screen. And you can also ask them for equipment and try and persuade them to give you some, and they swear at you profusely quite often, so I'll say goodbye to them. And I'll show the mission screen. That is an uppercase M. And yeah, we have completed missions, failed missions, and active missions. Back of your missions there. They're not incredibly worthwhile to do, but they're there. Bionics, right. You press P to show you bionics. I have none currently because this is a brand new character. I can use the debug console to give myself some to show you how they work. The debug console is not bound to a key by default. It's up to you whether you want to use it, but I'm just... Okay, they're all here. Okay. Nope. Alright, I'm messing this up. Alright, it's giving me a cylinder engine. That's not very useful. Let's try that again, shall we? Yep, let's just go with a battery system. We'll get one of those. And we're going to have to increase our skills. They need a lot of skills. we'll just increase all skills. Just keep doing that. Because I want to get this CBM installed so that I can... There you go, only 8% of failure, there we go. Right, so now I have a battery system bionic. Now, a bionic that you can activate, you press the key that it is assigned. This is passive, so I don't need to. But if it was a bionic that needed activating, I would press A, and it would activate it. And you do it again to deactivate it. Now you can press exclamation mark to switch to examining mode, and you can press A for the battery system I have, and it will tell me what it is down here, although you should check what it is before you install it, but you might forget. Okay, there is a very in-depth crafting system in the game, and because I've just increased all my skills to ridiculous levels, you can see some of the options that we have here. This is opened with the ampersand key, that's the little and symbol, and you scroll across here with the arrows keys, and enter to craft, and escape to exit. And we can also press a question mark to see more stats about the item itself. So if you're not sure whether a particular item of clothing is worth crafting, you can press question mark and see the stats. There is also construction in the game. We use the asterisk key or the star key to bring that up. And again, we have plenty of options here. It tells you what tools and ingredients you need on the left. And these are red if you don't have them naturally. They're green if you do have them. They are also brown if you have more than one, or if you have, say this needs 8 nails, it will be brown if you have 7 nails. The clothing menu is opened with the plus key, and this shows all of the clothes you're wearing, and as you scroll through with the arrow keys, it shows you the stats, the protection, encumbrance, and storage, and warmth stats. You can also sort these by pressing S and using the arrow keys to move it up and down. So you can, if for example you have a sweater, you can put it over your t-shirt rather than under it, which makes a lot of sense. The player information screen, you use the same symbol as your player, the at button. And here you can see the stats. Use the arrow keys again to move up and down here, and tab to move over to the next screen. The stats thing, the stats window is fairly self-explanatory. It shows your strength, dexterity, intelligence, and perception, and shows what kind of effects these have on you. The encumbrance is a little bit more confusing. So what this shows is the encumbrance and warmth of the clothes that you're wearing. Now, the first number after torso is 2 there. That means that I'm wearing 2 things on my torso, namely a t-shirt and a backpack. And the encumbrance of those adds up. So the encumbrance of the t-shirt is 0 because it fits, and the backpack is 1 because it's a backpack and it's heavy and uncomfortable to wear. And so 0 plus 1, that's the next 2 numbers there, is 1, as you might imagine. But as you start to add on more items, the encumbrance becomes cumulative. So you might be wearing 3 things with 0 encumbrance, but that would still come up to 2 or 3 on the encumbrance scale. Because as you might imagine, wearing loads of layers encumbers you a lot. And so the next one over is speed. You don't need to you can't tab over to that because there's no reason to. It just tells you what's affecting your speed currently. And here's the skills. They're up to 25 because I was cheating. But yeah, that shows you the skill level and in brackets the progress towards the next skill level. And here are the traits that you picked upon character creation. And next up is effects, and here you get things like pain, cold, hunger, diseases, and that will also show the effects on your stats and skills and movement and such. You can view your morale by pressing V, and that says enjoyed because I ate an apple, so this is affected by being wet from the rain, being guilty about killing innocent NPCs or child zombies. It's affected by enjoying food and drugs, and a lot of different things besides. And it's quite important, if you reach a certain low level of morale, you will not be able to craft or construct, and that includes crafting cooked meats and clean water and stuff like that. So it is quite important to keep your character's morale up and to monitor this at all times. Now the map screen is brought up by M, and you can move around this using the regular movement keys. And as you hover over a tile, it will tell you what it is in the top right. So to the northeast east is a sewage treatment plant with a parking lot. And this up here is a farm, and down here we can see a town. The green things are houses, and there's lots of shops in the middle there. And you can add notes on the map if you find something that's not marked, for example, like maybe there's a crash site up here. You can press an uppercase N and type in a note, press enter, and then when you move over that tile it will tell you what you typed in the upper left. And you can delete those by pressing capital D. That's very useful. And at any time during the game you can bring up a help menu by pressing the question mark. That will give you quite a lot of useful things. It will give you blurbs on all of the various things in the game. And to finish off this tutorial, there's one last command which does unfortunately come in useful. Sometimes you get trapped in an area, or just for whatever reason your character just simply cannot continue, and in that case you press uppercase Q and commit suicide. And that was part 2 of my Cataclysm tutorial series. In the next part I'll be showing how to gather supplies and how to hopefully survive your first day.